It's Brian Wilson alongside Larry O'Connor.
And joining us right now, last night he was able to sort of give the play-by-play as it was happening, as the shutdown ended and the Republicans capitulated. He, of course, is our colleague here on WMAL, Mark Levin. Hey, Mark, good morning.
Larry, how are you?
I'm all well. I don't know how to be, Mark, and I'm hoping you can explain it all for me.
Help us know what we think.
Clearly, the Republicans lost this, but at the same time, I feel like the Democrats are forever branded now with Obamacare because Ted Cruz did such a great job of bringing attention to this debacle. And also, the Republicans, at least for a couple of weeks, tried to take a stand on this outrageous $17 trillion deficit. They were the only ones actually trying to do something about it. It looks as though they never really had a chance to truly win. You tell me. Was there a way for them to win, and what did they do wrong?
All right. Actually, the Republicans did crap. It was the conservatives who were trying to win this fight.
Thank you for correcting me.
The conservatives in the Senate, the Republicans, they say, we spent all this time fighting Obamacare. No, the Republicans spent all this time fighting the conservatives who were trying to fight Obamacare, and I've never seen anything like this before. Republicans going on television, in the media, on and off the record, trashing conservatives who are trying to stop or in some way position themselves to take something away from this Obamacare because it's a disaster. And furthermore, you guys have been talking about, as I have forever, this debt. What's going to happen with this debt? Nothing is going to happen with this debt. So we have a country where the people do not want this health care system that's being imposed on them from a Congress that's been voted out of office. We now have a debt situation which anybody with a fifth-grade arithmetic knowledge knows is absolutely unsustainable. And now we're celebrating the fact that the debt's going to go up and Obamacare is here to stay. The Republican leadership is feckless. I'm telling you, it is feckless. The House and the Senate don't coordinate with each other. Members are attacking each other. You don't see that on the Democrat side, that you say the Democrats are now forever painted with Obamacare. You think they care? No, because they muscle their way through by hook or crook. If they lose elections, they go to court. If they lose in court, they go to the bureaucracy. Republicans surrender before they even fight.
Well, let me ask you this, because, I mean, the question is, if you look at their position, ultimately what their position was is we believe the debt and the deficit are out of control. We believe that we shouldn't turn over 1/6 of our economy to a badly organized, socialized medical program. And those seem to be eminently reasonable positions. I mean, those seem to be positions that one ought to be able to stand and defend, but they didn't do a very good job of it. And I'm wondering, why didn't the message resonate? Is it because in America today, we're in a situation where we have just come to expect that government is going to continue to give and give and give and give?
No, I think the American people were fed up and are fed up with Obamacare and so forth. No, I'll tell you what I think. I think when the Republicans controlled both houses of Congress and the presidency for 6 years under Bush, the government exploded in terms of spending. It expanded. Medicare was expanded. The federal role in public education was expanding. Bush would not veto spending bills. The most profligate presidency before this one was the administration before this one. Mm-hmm. I am convinced that too many in the Republican leadership, too many Republicans who've been around forever, they like the status quo. They may say they don't, but they do. And they've demonstrated it by their own actions by attacking Ted Cruz. What the hell did Ted Cruz do? He spent 21 hours of precious Senate time trying to point out there's a problem with Obamacare, trying to position his party, and for that he's trashed over and over and over again.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is the Republican leadership doesn't know how to deal with a radical left-wing president who is seeking to drag this nation in a direction that many of us are resisting.
Mark Levin, you were part of the Reagan administration, and you know Ronald Reagan's really his first big public foray into politics was the '64 election for Goldwater, and they lost. And then he tried to run for president after being governor of California. He ran for president in '76, and he lost. And after the '76 election, everyone was saying the same thing. Oh, he's tearing the party apart, and he's not, supporting the establishment Republican, Jerry Ford. In the long run, as you saw when you were part of the Reagan Revolution, Reagan ended up winning, and he transformed not only the party but also the country. Give me the long view here. What is the potential upside here? Because we had a debate over the last 2 weeks over ideas and over the power and leadership of the Republican Party.
You are right on, and I was there fighting in 1976, the Ford forces and the Republican establishment. People need to remember, Reagan was an outsider. Reagan was anti-establishment.
And they called him all the bad things they're calling Ted Cruz right now.
They hated him. And as it turns out, and once he finally muscled his way through the Republican establishment and got the nomination, he won 2 massive landslides, which the Republicans after him didn't build on. They lurched back into this, I don't even know what, mush or whatever it is that they stand for these days. So, my attitude is we fight as hard as we can at the federal level. My attitude is that McConnell and Boehner and the rest have to go. We need some fresh new faces in leadership. Also, Ronald Reagan, quite frankly, he knew how to fight the left because he came out of Hollywood. He fought the left for many, many years. That's why he became a Republican. These guys, I don't think they recognize the existential threat that's coming out of the Oval Office, and instead they view us that way. So I also believe that there needs to be an expansion of the conservative movement, as I've talked about on your program before, from the bottom up, the grassroots up, with the state legislatures, and it may take 25, 30, 40 years, but hell, we got time. We got to deal with it.
Yeah, do you think that, given the long view here, that as people learn more and more and more about Obamacare, and what a disaster it is, and how this website doesn't work, and if you do make it work, oh my gosh, you're not going to like what you find at the end of the process because it's more expensive, and you're going to be outraged by that. Do you think over time these people who stood in the well and forcefully stood against Obamacare will be looked at in a different way?
Absolutely. I absolutely do. But here's the problem. Obamacare is being instituted bureaucratically. It has received the imprimatur of the Supreme Court. So in other words, it's now out of the hands of the electorate. It's the law. It's being imposed on us. It's being imposed on us from unelected bodies now. It's expanding like a poison, and this is why, from a statutory point of view, Harry Reid had to ram it through the budget process rather than the normal process.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court twisted it and turned it. Obama, subsequent to the court's ruling on that law, has changed the law. The bureaucracy's implementing it as fast as it can. So are certain states. They want to create a situation in which no matter what the people think, no matter how angry they are, we cannot reverse course.
Yeah, and we finally, for a little while here, had a national debate about it. We had a debate in Washington about it. We never had a debate about Obamacare.
No, what
in 2010.
what we had was a handful of people trying to debate it, and another handful of people saying, "Oh, what's the end game? Oh, we can't win this. Oh, we got to discuss the budget. Oh, he won the election. Oh, it's the law."
Hey, Mark Levin. We're out of time, but really quickly, Are you going to, you have a very powerful voice, not only on WMAL, but nationwide. Are you going to actively try to go after those congressmen and senators who undercut Ted Cruz? I'm talking about Peter King, John McCain. You know who I'm talking about.
You can rest assured. You can bet on it. You're damn right I am.
All right, Mark Levin, the great one. Thanks for joining us this morning.